Kind of cute bunny. But it is not what Easter really is all about. Baskets, jelly beans, hoppity hop bunnies. Nope. It's about what? It's a resurrection of Jesus. That came way later. Resurrection happened about 2,000 years ago. It's not a fable. It's not a fiction. It's not a made-up story. It's a fact. And because of that resurrection of Jesus, we get to be resurrected in our bodies, from our bodies, into a new glorified body in the future. He's going to come back and raise everyone from the dead. There's two resurrections that happen, the righteous and then the unrighteous, in that order, by the way, the just and then the unjust. The good people who really are followers of Jesus, who've given their lives to the Lord, and then the wicked. So I hope you're in the first resurrection. That's, by the way, in John chapter 5. And also Revelation, very end, it talks about a first resurrection. Blessed are they that have their part in that resurrection. All right, so, and this story, this wonderful, not legend, but true story, actually, the resurrection is a core. It's the bullseye of the whole Christian religion. It's everything is dependent on that. In other words, this is like different doctrines, different teachings of the Bible, and all this is like a target. But the bullseye is right there. And that is the heart, the core, the center, the central part of Christianity. You know, being a Christian and what life is really all about. Without that, we would be hopeless. We wouldn't have life. We wouldn't have a future at all. Thank God. Otherwise, you just die, you stay dead, or just die and then you get punished by God. But thank God for the cross, the burial, the resurrection, and yes, even the ascension, because he's literally on the right hand of God, on the right hand throne side of God. All right, the last video we did in the last chapter of Matthew chapter 28 is about the women, how they came to visit. And I think it probably happened sort of like this, either a little bit before, right as they were coming, or right before they arrived there. It says there was a violent earthquake, a great one. Like it wasn't just, you know, a minor one. Although it could have been just right there. And I love how God uses earthquakes throughout the Bible. And when he's really doing some big event, sometimes he does an earthquake. You know, Mount Sinai, or, you know, the earthquake of when he split the thing open, and the wicked people and Korah and Abiram and all, Dathan, they dropped in, and, you know, certain things that God really shakes the earth at times. He has shook them up. He shook up the guard here too, because it says, for there was a great earthquake. For an angel, at this point one, and we'll get into all the angels here that happen in this passage as we go, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Later, eventually, I like to put the whole thing together, all those writers, and kind of all the pieces of the puzzle, you'll see the fuller picture. But an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, that came from above, and it says, and going to the tomb, well, he landed or something, or he was still, you know, flying. I mean, I really believe in angels. By the way, my uncle literally saw an angel. He kind of wanted to all his life, and God honored him one time. He was in his bed, and an angel literally visited him. And I wish I had more curiosity in those days. I would have dug into what he said, what he told him, and all that. I just didn't ask questions. I hope you ask a lot of questions in your life. And I wish I would have gotten that before he passed away. And what happened is he said that angel went through the ceiling. It was like 9-10 feet tall. So get out of your mind, little chubby babies with diapers and bing, Cupid things with the arrows. And these guys are giants, man. They're beasts. Not beasts literally, like monsters, but they're really big, strong. And so an angel came down from heaven. I love what this says and how it says it. It says, and going to the tomb, roll back the stone. like, shows the power of this angel. Of course, he could do way more than that. If you go in the Old Testament and in the New, and the power of these angels are no joke. It says he just kind of rolled it back like a bowling ball or something. Took that disc. Usually it seems like they were cut out in a disc, a circular type thing, and roll back the stone. And I like this one. And he's just sat on it. He's just chilling. Like, whistle while you work. You know, just sitting there waiting for the women. And so, by the way, how do we know this happened? How did they get that? I think one of the soldiers later told the story, and maybe it got back to Matthew. He may have been one of the one who heard, well, Matthew heard it here, he spoke. But, you know, they told these stories, I think. Maybe, I don't know, like however many soldiers this was, it could be at 16 or whatever. Maybe one or two finally got saved. It doesn't seem like they did because of the rest of the passage, like verse 15 coming up here. But anyway, it says, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. I don't know. Crossed his leg. I don't know. I love it. Just sat on that thing. That's fun. His appearance was like lightning. So it's just this whole appearance. The actual Greek of that is I saw, which means appearance. Like he that's his, the appearance was what? Like lightning, like. So it wasn't just his face. The King James back here says, that Bible that says countenance. It doesn't mean face. This is the only time that word is used, by the way. Anyway, the Greek word. So it says his appearance was like lightning. Think of that, just bright. He was trying to describe, you know, what they saw. And his clothes were white as snow. Now that's used a lot in the Bible. Like the priests and their white outfits, and then just throughout the Bible, like people, like for example, the 24 elders in the Bible, angels, it's angel, white, you know, bright white clothes here. And it says the guards were so afraid of him that they shook, just shook, and they trembled, you know, and became like dead men. Like I don't know if they fainted literally or just went down. They saw him and just went down. They were like in a swoon position, like they were petrified. They were stunned, and it was, oh wow, their hearts were like going like that. These are strong guards. These are guards that are strong and masculine and fighters. They went down, buddy. They really became like dead men, and they were shaking and all. Now, I think it's possible if you put them all together, and I might change this as I continue researching and studying it all. I think this all happened, and then when they kind of finally came out of it and just ran for their lives, they fled, and we'll get into what they did. They went to the chief priest, and they just were out of there, like, split. And then the women came, maybe. You know, they could have been there while the angel talked, but it doesn't seem like it. But I'm not sure. Anyway, so at this point. And so there it is. The guards were so afraid of him, and they shook. And then it says, the angel said to the women. Now, it's possible that, like I said, the women may have seen this. So they definitely saw the angel, because the angel literally spoke to them. Notice who the angel spoke to. He didn't speak to the soldiers. He spoke right to these believers, these disciples of Jesus, these ones who love Jesus. And that's going to happen with the people of God. You're going to hear from God. Maybe you've heard an angel before, you know, and realize it, because the Bible does have lots of stories about angels speaking. God uses them as messengers. Sure, God could do it himself, but he shares. He's not selfish. He shares with the angels. He shares with us. I mean, just a wonderful, wonderful Lord. But there it is. So that's what happened. And it was the second earthquake, by the way, if you notice. It was an earthquake, remember, when Jesus died at 3 o'clock. And so this is the next day, probably about, I don't know, probably about 14 to 15 hours later, another earthquake. I don't know how much that spread, but it shook it. And the rock was, you know, shaking and everything, and then the angel pushed it back. So it doesn't seem like the earthquake moved that rock, but it, you know, it doesn't seem like, because it says the angel did it, but some have suggested that that's what happened. But anyway, thanks for listening. It's really powerful. These are true stories, and I love how angels are active, and they're active in your life too. If you're a Christian, the Bible says the angel of the Lord encamps round about, like he hangs out with those who fear the Lord. And but they appear and they really manifest themselves, well, many different times, but especially when God's on the move. Biblically, like remember the angels that visited at his birth, and now the angels were at the at this part. I mean, the angels were in the Gethsemane. Of course, the disciples didn't see him and all. Here, they literally appeared. Remember, they appeared to the shepherds, and now the birth and resurrection. First life, he came to life in a form of a baby. Now he's life and resurrection. And that reminds me of the Old Testament where God, when he was doing something big and special, he would send an angel, like whether it be Moses had that, or Gideon and various ones. By the way, in Mark's right here in this gospel, Mark 16, it says it was a young man dressed in white. But was it an angel or a young man? Is that a contradiction, which means something against each other, like I talked about recently, I think the last video? No, I think he looks like a young man. Or sometimes angels disguise themselves as being humans. Do you remember well, maybe you don't know this story yet. I think it's Genesis 18, how the three ones, I think one of them was Jesus literally, and the other two were angels. They literally came and they were in human form. So they can disguise. As a matter of fact, I'm just thinking of all these verses. Hebrews 13, it says, angels can come unawares, like people aren't aware, and they disguise themselves as humans. That's why the Bible says, be sure and entertain or bless or help strangers. It's not you young ones, because you don't know them and all that. You're young. But as you get older, you help people and that could be an angel that you're helping in disguise, kind of a test that God's given us. So anyway, great passage. This is it right here. This is where it's at. The core of it, the heart of it, the sweetness of it, the sweetness of Jesus raising from the dead. By the way, where's Jesus in this? Well, he's around, but he's not in the tomb. He didn't need the stone rolled away for him to get out. The angel did it, rolled away, so that the ladies can come in. They actually entered in the other passages and all. And he says, but in other words, in the other books, Gospels, but he had already risen from the dead. Now, I don't know how long. It could have been just before that, could have been an hour before that, I don't know. But he rose from the dead, and he wasn't there. He was right around that place, though. And really wonderful. All right, thanks so much. God bless you.